Hold up, Beard. Didn't you already make a video about this pile of calcium not too long ago? Sure did, friends. But not only was that actually long ago, it was both for Don't Starve Together and an entirely different Wilton at the end of the day. So please, allow me to introduce you to Nightmare Wilton here. He is a newer take on the old bones that is essentially two characters in one. So be prepared for a bit of a graveyard shift, everyone. No. Seriously, this guy has got a lot going for him, even if some of it's going to be a bit done broken, unfortunately. But still, the work that Concoction of Constitution has done caught my eye. So goodbye intro, and hello double stats. But hold up once again, Beard. The heck does that even mean? Well, it means that I wasn't lying about our friend here being two separate characters at once. Therefore, he has two separate levels of stats to share with us, of course. Normal Wilton sits at a measly 75 hunger, 50 sanity, 50 health, and 100 nightmare, which is a new stat that we'll touch on soon enough. But Nightmare Wilton will up that game to 100 hunger, 75 sanity, 100 health, and 200 nightmare. Now, that might not seem like much of an upgrade, but trust me, Nightmare Wilton is gonna make up for it in many other ways. But how do we actually achieve this nightmarish form, you ask? Well, by stuffing our faces with 40 dang nightmare fuel. A full stack of nightmare fuel is gonna raise our max stats by 1 each time, all the while adding to our new nightmare stat by roughly 2.5 points each bite. Eat enough, and you'll explode into a new version of yourself that will truly make up for some of Wilton's shortcomings at the end of the day. But before we actually get to that, we should probably know how Nightmare actually works first. Nightmare is available to both Wilton variants and will rise faster as darkness falls come dusk and the pitch black, of course. Be mindful though, Wilton suffers from more sanity loss from all negative sanity drains when compared to others, so raise Nightmare wisely if you know what I mean. Then again, killing nightmare creatures themselves provides a solid, instant 25 nightmare each and every time, and nightmare fuel is actually paramount for this character, so perhaps going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs is actually the right idea. But good luck. But yes, it's time we talk Nightmare Wilson's gem powers, everyone. In this form, he can equip all gem types in the game to not only change his eye color, but to also benefit from unique attacks like a red gem's laser here, dealing heavy damage if it hits. Bear in mind that all gem powers are not only infinitely usable, but still cost nightmare to cast. Cast too much without maintaining said nightmare, and you will die. No, not exaggerating for dramatic effects, you will instantly die if Nightmare hits 0 while in this Nightmare form, so be very mindful there. Thankfully though, Nightmare Fuel restores 25 a pop while in this form now, so be sure to use that to your advantage, or else you're gonna miss out on all the other powers to follow, like the blue gems, Ice Laser here. Just think a red gem, but it freezes fools now, including bosses actually. But purple gems offer an area of effect shockwave type of attack that deals big damage to anything on top of you essentially. Orange gem powers are easily the most powerful, and I honestly think the footage here speaks for itself in that regard. Yellow gems are next, and will come in second place I feel, as they will help us call down multiple powerful lightning strikes as you can see. And finally, green gem powers help us deconstruct the natural world around us in an instant, but it won't work on crafts or buildings, mind you. Still, it ain't too shabby. But even after all that, in order to continue on, we will have to start by doing some bone crafting, as the rest of Wilton's abilities and his nightmare mechanics will be tied to it. We will get into specifics, of course, but a few things to know right off the bat here are that Hound Teeth will go into making more bone shards, while bone shards will go into making more Hound Teeth. But Wilton can also create his very own walrus tusks at the end of the day if need be, and the bloody guy can even craft additional guardian horns if all 3 ancient guardians have been killed in your world. Good stuff. But as for the rest of the stuff, things will be very up or down, I feel. Mostly because most of the nightmare versions of these things will be crashing our games, unfortunately. Still, we've got the Skelerang here that deals literally 1 damage a bonk, but will always stun birds no matter what, so make use there. But it is also our first introduction to not only nightmare versions of these crafts that do work, but also nightmare charges themselves. Upgrade a Skelly with enough nightmare fuel to make it a nightmare Skelly that will grow in power and range just as long as we have nightmare to drain. And that's the kicker. And it's going to go for lots to follow. Nightmare versions of crap need nightmare and will use ours up with each use, so be mindful there. And this is why you should get to the nightmare version of yourself as soon as possible. But next comes the bone pack, and it will actually help with what I just said in the event that you're not the nightmare version of yourself. For you see, its normal version simply holds bone crafts and crafting components used by Wilton and Wilton alone, while also dropping bone shards daily. However, when upgraded to the nightmare version of itself, it will not only drop nightmare fuel now, it will charge up nightmare versions of crafts for free without us having to hold them in hand. Very, very nice. Make use. The Skelly Cane is up to bat, and with its simple craft of 2 bone shards and 1 nightmare fuel, we can enjoy a 10% speed boost very early on. And yup, that's kinda it really, unless you upgrade it of course. Toss a lot more nightmare fuel at it, and you'll enjoy 20% speed boost now, along with the ability to occasionally teleport if you got the charges at hand. Kinda like a lazy explorer if you think about it. Have fun. Wilton also offers Skelly tools like an axe, pickaxe, and even a new scythe that will all gather resources faster when not upgraded, which I feel is kinda simple enough just to hear and not be shown, but the nightmare versions of these tools take that to the max, mind you, while also throwing a bonus, like being able to smash through shielded enemies to deal massive damage when we otherwise couldn't with the pickaxe. That, or why not have a nightmare axe, deal big time damage to tree guardians with each charged up swing. And finally, although broken, a nightmare scythe was meant to auto harvest all nearby resources instantly with just 1 large swing. Still, it alone is still very useful in that regard to some extent. The divining bone is next, and it is my least favorite bone craft, as it leads to a very special bone at the end of the day, the eye bone. And nope, I am never touching this thing ever again. The ribs, aka the bone armor of Solo Don't Starve, are next, and have quite the craft to them as you can see. But manage to whip one up and enjoy increased protection over time, just as long as there is nightmare to drain for it. But also enjoy 100% protection once the ribs are actually fully charged themselves. But make them nightmarish, and any quick damage taken in succession will be met with an explosion of damage in an area around ya. And once more, expect a charge mechanic here too. But cool stuff. The skull here works rather similarly, although it blocks full damage all the flippin' time, just as long as charges remain high. Unfortunately though, its nightmare version does crash the game. However, it was meant to grant 1 free use of a gem power with each charge, and it's the thought that counts. And sadly, the same can actually be said of the Skelebat here too, but it will still work in its normal form, so there's that. It will deal 15 damage a hit normally, with no durability, but that would jump up to 60 if it's at full charge, so make note there. And you'll know when it hits for 60. Trust me. The Nightmare Light also sounded really awesome, as it was meant to throw off an aura that would raise Nightmare over time for free just as long as it was fueled itself, but it was also going to provide heat during winter and cold during summer. Unfortunately though, placing it crashes the game. But speaking of nightmarish lights, apparently the Nightmare Bone Lantern here is just meant to be found in the ruins somewhere and is not craftable. But it's also meant to repel nightmare creatures, but I fear that I never found it for real myself, and it doesn't actually look like it actually works half the time. But what have you there? But finally, a Frost Skelly is a thing as well, and freezes both you and whatever you hit with it. And yup, that's all she wrote. Like I said, up and down. But to end the day, here are some other ups and downs. Wilton will dry off faster than any other survivor, so there's that. He will be far more susceptible to temperature changes, so expect to heat up faster in summer and cool down in winter, all the while taking more damage from both in the process. And finally, although I'm not entirely sure how it makes any sense, Wilton will starve insanely fast, so munch as much as you can to avoid this as much as possible. Good luck. And there you have it, everyone. Nightmare Wilton and all of his somewhat broken glory. It's kind of a shame that a select few of his mechanics are still kinda unavailable at this time, but who knows? Perhaps after today, he'll be fixed. The work and thought that has gone into him already is what caught my attention. So I just wanted to give Concoction of Constitution and Wilton himself the spotlight, if you know what I mean. I liked what I saw, and I hope you all did too. Thanks for watching, folks. Well wishes to all. Go rattle some bones. And I'll see ya in the next one. Bye-bye.